For cheap D2R items, visit aoeah.com. You get 3% off with the code ARIAT. Check the link in the description. Hello and welcome everybody. Since I was asked several times how I would equip a Javazon for the endgame, here comes my favorite Java build for farming on players 8, which also can go for Ubertristram. The nice thing about the Javazon is that you can play it very cheap and then upgrade to the presented endgame equipment step by step. I won't present a certain budget equipment here, there are lots of useful options. As long as you have titans, the world is quite okay. The Java has a very high kill speed from the beginning, but is limited to few areas as long as you can't break the lightning immunities. In the end, the Javazon will destroy everything. Stat points and Skilltree first, although there is not much to say here. Enough strength and dexterity for the equipment, remaining points go into vitality. Our main attack is Lightning Fury, so we maximize it, including all synergies. Charged Strike has priority, we will use it against strong single targets such as act bosses. Also 1 point in Impale for Ubertristram. In the passive tree you can also take the right side with 1 point each. Javelins that pierce their targets provide even more lightnings and thus even more damage. But that's it, the complete skill tree looks like this. Here you can see the breakpoints. Faster hit recovery won't be too important for farming, monsters will basically die before they get to us, but a little FHR is nice to have anyway. Attack speed and cast rate are more important. For teleporting it would be great to get to 99% FCR. For satisfying attack speed we should have at least 30% IAS, getting to 55 or even 90 is better of course. Now for the equipment. If you want to get to maximum speed, 40% attack speed on the Javelins is very helpful, especially if we get skills as well. However, such Javelins are very rare and expensive, so if you can be content with a little less attack speed, there is no shame in playing upgraded titans in the endgame. I prefer non-Azrael ones on the Javazon because I can repair them if necessary. They also refill themselves, but if you really step on the gas, it's not fast enough. With Azrael ones, you just have to wait. If you have multiple titans, exchanging can be a solution of course. The helmet is a Griffin's Eye, which lowers the monster's lightning resistance and also gives some extra lightning damage, +1 to all skills and 25% cast rate. Either a lightning facet makes sense here, or a jewel with 15% attack speed and +15 to all resistances. This helps us on the way to maximum speed. Teleport is a must-have for an S-tier farm build, so an Enigma will be needed here. The Amazon's cast speed is really lame compared to other classes, but if we crack the breakpoint at 99, it will be satisfyingly fast. That's why we play an Arachnid Mesh in the belt slot instead of a Thunder Gods, because that way we already get 20% cast rate and at least +1 to all skills. The rings are a Raven Frost for not freezing and a Bulkatos because of life, life leech and the skill point. We have a 220 Amazon amulet here, 19% cast rate would be sufficient yet, if having less we would have to replace the Bulkatos by an FCR ring. With 20% cast rate in the belt, 25 in the helmet and 20 on the amulet we would have exactly 65. So a spirit shield with 34 or 35% cast rate brings us to the desired breakpoint. I have the shield in the second weapon slot along with the CTA here, so in this slot I'll be doing war cries and teleporting. In the first slot I play a Phoenix shield because the redemption aura solves all mana problems. You could also play Phoenix shield in the second slot and spirit in the first, and then only switch briefly when you need the aura. That's up to you. Since we still have to get in some resistances, triple resist boots are very helpful here. Next to +2 to skills and 20% attack speed, a few resistances on the gloves would be nice too. Otherwise, we have to use more charms in the inventory. especially lightning resistance to compensate for the thunder charm. In addition, of course, torch, ani, life, faster hit recovery and resistances. I also have a High Lords here. This build currently only has 75% attack speed yet. Changing the amulet, you can reach 95% and get to maximum attack speed, but losing cast rate, so you can switch in between as you like. The Mercenary wears Infinity, 40 and an Andy's face with an IAS fire resistance jewel. All Ethereal of course. Conviction Aura in conjunction with the Thunder Charm will work like another minus 20% monster resistances. The Javazon has about 1 to 9300 damage charged strike and 1 to 3500 on Lightning Fury, but the effective damage is much higher because each lightning hits the monsters multiple times due to some strange mechanics. The size of the monsters also plays a role here, so finally you will only need a few charged strikes for Diablo. Another character with comparable high damage from another source needs much longer. Besides, the Amazon has over 3000 life after Warcries, and with sufficient effort you can also get to maximum resistances. The gameplay clearly speaks for itself. We have an enormous skill speed here and the character is very easy to use. Dropping masses by Lightning Fury, stabbing bosses with Charged Strike. This attack also has no attack rating value, so there is no hit query here. Just like a spell, the attack hits every time. As mentioned before, a Javazon can be played much cheaper. Basically, it is enough to have titans equipped at the beginning and then carry a few more items that give skills, life and resistances. The possibilities are very diverse. If you pay a little attention, the Javazon can even clean up the cow level completely naked. The biggest hurdle a Javazon would like to overcome at some point is the lightning immune monsters. The Thunder Charm on its own is not yet enough to do significant damage here, and Griffin's Eye and Infinity are very expensive. A super cheap solution like the rumored Crescent Moon is unfortunately not possible here. After all, we need a Javelin, of course. In the low and middle budget range there are two solutions I would like to point out. One is called Thunderstroke. On this unique weapon we have minus 15% lightning resistances for monsters, but no self-refill like the Titans have. The second solution is called Rainbow Facets. Body armors and shields can carry up to 4 facets each, but in total it's sufficient to get about minus 30 to 40% lightning resistance for monsters. Shortly talking about Magic Find, the presented build just has about 100 Magic Find. Whoever wants to drive more can do this either at the expense of performance, safety or mobility. In my opinion, the best way to get over 200% is using War Travelers, a Geats and a few MF charms in the inventory that maybe will replace some skillers. Of course, you could also go for a Harlequin crest and further items, but that definitely brings more relevant performance loss with it. Losing Griffin's Eye already leads to lower teleport speed and less damage, so it would be a bit more bearable if you give up the Bulkatus for a Nagel Ring or go for Chance Guards and Gold Grab. Now let's talk about Ubertristram. We can use the same build for Ubertristram, we just need to pay attention when distributing stat points. We will need to be able to wear our UT equipment, because for this purpose we will change clothes. I've built a stylish setup here. My favorite weapon for Ubertristram is Hone Sundan, upgraded of course, and also great if it's Azrael. I've put in Zod for making it indestructible, Shail for more attack speed and Bear for even more crushing blow. Out of the box, this weapon has 3 sockets and 45% crushing blow. Non-Azrael will work just as well, the damage will be a little less, but I'd probably put a Zod rune in there anyway. We will use the Impale attack and that will consume durability very quickly. The self-repair on the weapon itself is often not enough. In my test series I broke one while fighting an Ubertristram, and that can end deadly. Another possible weapon is Steel Pillar, which is always indestructible and brings 25% crushing blow. However, since the War Pike is very slow, we have to put Shail in here, and it is still slower than Hone Sundan and has less crushing blow. The other equipment has to be adjusted as well. On the head we have Kira's Guardian with an IAS All-Rest Jewel, which gives us some decent resistances. Further, we will precast Fate by a Treasury armor and then switch to 40. The amulet is High Lord's, mainly because of the attack speed. Further we need Draculs for life tap, a Thunder Gods for maximum lightning resistance, and instead of the Bulkatus a Dual Leecher maybe. Some Mana Leech can be helpful, especially when fighting Uberbal, he always drains your mana. You can also do Ubertristram with a Javelin, but since we don't have crushing blow on the weapon then, we will have to wear a Gully helmet instead of Kira's and preferably Gore Riders as well. Since we lose a lot of resistances, we have to get them back in the shield slot. A Spirit Shield won't be enough, but you can simply fall back on the Mozars with 2 armor runes. The rest of the equipment is identical. The weapon will be some javelin with high damage, so upgraded titans or even Thunderstroke. The 15% IAS makes them a bit faster. This solution is a bit cheaper, but also a bit weaker when looking at the resistances. So here you maybe will need more resistance charms in the inventory. In Ubertristram you should proceed as usual and first take out Mephisto as long as Fate is up. Just because of his aura we finally need the extra amount of resistances. Fire, Cold and Lightning should have a total of over 300, then there will be enough left even with Mephisto's Conviction aura. The Impale attack is kinda slow, but it hits safely and unstoppably. Together with the life tap curse from the Draculs we stay alive as long as we keep stabbing. Afterwards you can care about Diablo and Baal, the order doesn't matter, but it's better if you can fight them one after the other. Too many monsters surrounding you at once can be too much, and using Chain Lightning in between is also dangerous because you don't drain any life using it. As long as you stab the bosses and life tap is up, you are relatively safe, and if you find yourself surrounded afterwards, you have to fight your way out patiently with Impale or Jab. That was my OP Javazon endgame guide. This build is an absolute all-arounder, you can easily farm all areas on players 8, but also complete Ubertristram quite quickly. Playing this Javazon is definitely worth it, the performance speaks for itself, an absolute S-tier build. At the end of the video, a small farm and trade list. I say goodbye, take care and may the loot be with you.